Welcome to Space Mysteries, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Tomatoes, the humble fruit that's found its way into nearly every American kitchen, from backyard gardens to bustling city markets. That red thing in your salad, so familiar and comforting, is now at the center of a global embarrassment that's making headlines and shaking up the industry. As of August 15, 2025, American tomatoes are being rejected at shipping docks worldwide. Shipments that once sailed smoothly across oceans are now being stopped in their tracks. Major buyers in Europe and Asia are sending our produce back, turning away what was once a staple of U.S. exports. The trust we built over decades is suddenly evaporating. This isn't a minor hiccup, it's a full-scale rejection, a crisis that's rippling through every level of the supply chain. Imagine months of work, only to have your crop returned, unsold and spoiling. For farmers, it's not just a financial blow, it's a heartbreak. Containers meant to bring in cash are now filled with unwanted softening fruit. The smell of rot replaces the promise of profit. The impact is massive, shaking an already fragile agricultural sector. Equipment sits idle and uncertainty hangs heavy in the air. So what happened? Did our tomatoes suddenly revolt? No. This is about failing to keep up with changing rules, stricter standards, and new expectations from global buyers. While U.S. farmers stuck to old methods, the world demanded more, better quality, safer practices, and higher standards. Other countries innovated while we hesitated. Now American agriculture is paying the price for not adapting. Our fields are struggling and our market stands are emptier than ever. It's a national embarrassment, and it goes deeper than a few bad tomatoes. It's about pride, reputation, and the future of American farming. Our reputation is on the line. Farmers, exporters, and even consumers are feeling the sting of this rejection. Headlines read, "U.S. tomatoes fail to make the cut and global markets snub American produce." The world is taking notice, and so are we. This is real, and it's happening now. News crews are at the docks, capturing the fallout as it unfolds. From California to Florida, dread is setting in. These are the heartlands of tomato farming, and the anxiety is spreading fast. The rejection isn't just about agriculture, it's a symbol of a bigger problem. It's about what happens when a nation stops moving forward. In a global market, you can't just assume you're the best. Competition is fierce, and buyers have choices from every corner of the world. You have to prove it every shipment, every day. Quality isn't a given, it's a standard that must be met again and again. Right now we're failing that test. Our produce is being stamped failed and sent back, a harsh reality check for the industry. And the world is watching. Our next move will determine if we can recover, or if this embarrassment becomes our new normal. Why the sudden rejection? What's behind the abrupt halt at the border, the red stamps, and the disappointed faces of American farmers? It all comes down to a sweeping change in international trade standards, the Global Agricultural Quality Initiative, or Gaki, a new set of rules that's rewriting the playbook for global food exports. These rules zero in on two main things: ultra-low pesticide residue and absolute produce uniformity. Every tomato must be nearly identical, and chemical traces must be almost undetectable. The problem? U.S. farming methods have long relied on pesticides that are now banned under Gaki, making it nearly impossible to comply without a total overhaul. Our tomatoes, which are perfectly safe by American standards, are suddenly labeled contaminated by these new, much stricter global benchmarks. It's not that our produce is dangerous, it's that we're failing a test we didn't even know we'd have to take, and the rules keep getting tougher. Then there's the demand for uniformity. Buyers now expect every tomato to be identical in size, shape, and color. No exceptions, no oddballs. Traditional American field farming, with its natural variety, simply can't deliver that kind of perfection on a massive scale. Just one odd tomato in a crate can get an entire shipment rejected, costing farmers thousands and leaving warehouses full of unsellable produce. The new standards favor high-tech, tightly controlled environments, hydroponics, robotics, and automation, something the U.S. hasn't prioritized or invested in at scale. Ironically, these rules were pushed by overseas consumers who want cleaner, prettier, and more perfect food on their plates, regardless of the cost to producers. Now, American tomatoes are being legislated out of the premium export market, left behind as the world moves on. Our system, built for high volume and efficiency, is suddenly being punished for the very strengths that once made it a global powerhouse. The world changed, and we didn't. Now we're scrambling to catch up in a game where the rules have already shifted. This isn't just about economics, it's about people. When tomatoes don't sell, it's not just a number on a spreadsheet. It's a story of hardship, uncertainty, and real lives upended. Every rejected shipment means a farmer facing devastating losses. For many, it's the difference between making ends meet and falling into debt. Farmers invest huge sums in seeds, labor, and equipment, often operating on razor-thin margins. They pour their hopes and savings into each season, working long hours in the fields. A failed export season can be a knockout blow. It can mean the end of a family business that's lasted generations. The pain spreads, farm workers, pickers, packers, and truck drivers all lose work. The ripple effect is felt far beyond the farm itself. In many towns, the tomato industry is the main employer. When it suffers, the whole community feels it. Schools, local shops, and even healthcare services can be affected. Layoffs ripple through local businesses, from diners to repair shops. The economic shockwaves touch every corner of rural life. Take the Millers, a family farm in Central California. 3 containers rejected, a quarter of their income gone. Their story is just one of many, but it's a powerful example of what's at stake. Now they're forced to sell surplus tomatoes domestically at a loss, or let them rot. Perfectly good food goes to waste, while families struggle to pay their bills. This crisis exposes the fragility of our food system. It shows how quickly things can unravel when one link in the chain breaks. We forget the chain of people behind every tomato. Each one represents the hard work of countless individuals, all depending on each other. The rejection is a stark reminder. Behind every headline are real stories of struggle. These are families, friends, and neighbors facing tough choices. These aren't just numbers, they're our neighbors. Their challenges affect us all, whether we realize it or not. The impact is immediate, personal, and painful. It's a crisis that hits home, leaving lasting scars on entire communities. And it's happening right now. The struggle is ongoing, and the need for support has never been greater. So, where are the world's tomatoes coming from now? Mexico. As U.S. exports stall, Mexico is seizing the moment. Mexican producers are signing new contracts and shipping tomatoes worldwide, including to markets that just rejected ours. How? They invested early in high-tech greenhouses and hydroponics, meeting the new standards with ease. Their controlled environments mean fewer pesticides and perfect uniformity. Mexico didn't just adapt, they built their industry around these demands. The payoff? A 40% surge in exports in just 6 months. They're not just taking our customers, they're expanding the market. The Mexican government supported growers with subsidies and research, treating tomatoes as a strategic asset. While the U.S. rested, Mexico trained for the future. Now they're leading the global tomato trade. It's a boom for Mexico, and a wake-up call for the U.S. This isn't a blip, it's a fundamental shift. The tomato crown has moved south. The shift comes down to how tomatoes are grown. In the U.S., it's all about massive open fields, efficient but unpredictable. These fields rely on mechanization and traditional pest control, prioritizing volume over perfection. But open fields mean more pests, more chemicals, and less uniformity. The very scale that made us strong is now a weakness. Mexico, meanwhile, has gone high-tech. Greenhouses, shade houses, hydroponics. Everything is controlled: climate, water, nutrients, pests. This means more delicate, flavorful, and uniform tomatoes that meet strict standards. The trade-off? High upfront costs but lower labor expenses and year-round production. Mexican greenhouses are more productive per square foot and deliver exactly what buyers want. They're manufacturing tomatoes to spec, and the world is buying. The U.S. model is struggling to keep up. The future belongs to those who adapt. What does quality mean now? For international buyers, it's about consistency, perfection, and compliance. Mexican greenhouse tomatoes are flawless and predictable, ideal for global supermarkets. But chefs and food lovers value flavor, texture, and character. Quality is often found in American field-grown tomatoes. The stress of natural growth can create richer, more complex flavors. Yet the global market now prizes uniformity over taste. Logistics favor products that are easy to pack and ship. The shift forces U.S. farmers to rethink what quality should mean. Not all American tomatoes are tastier, nor all Mexican ones bland, but the export market has chosen consistency. Mexico bet on high-tech perfection. The U.S. is rooted in tradition. The result? A clash between industrial uniformity and agricultural character. And right now, uniformity is winning. What does this mean for your wallet? In the short term, tomato prices in the U.S. might drop. Rejected exports flood the domestic market, but this surplus won't last. As farmers lose money, many will plant less or switch crops. Domestic supply will shrink, and will rely more on imports, mainly from Mexico. As Mexico dominates, they'll gain pricing power. The era of cheap, American-grown tomatoes is ending. Year-round, greenhouse-grown tomatoes, mostly from Mexico, will fill shelves, especially in winter. Less competition means higher prices for consumers. The cost of high-tech production and shipping will be passed on to you. Expect a brief dip, then a steady rise in tomato prices. Your BLT and salsa are about to get pricier. Enjoy cheap tomatoes while you can. The tomato crisis goes beyond farmers and shoppers. It threatens the entire food processing industry. Ketchup, sauces, pizza toppings, all rely on cheap, steady tomato supplies. As U.S. production falters, companies face a choice: pay more for domestic tomatoes or import from abroad. More imports mean less business for American processing plants and workers. Even the "Made in the USA" label could become misleading. This crisis exposes a bigger issue: American agriculture's lag in technology and over-reliance on old methods. If we don't adapt, other crops could face the same fate. Food security is national security. Relying on imports makes us vulnerable. Rebuilding lost capacity isn't easy or quick. The tomato crisis is a warning. Invest in innovation or risk falling behind. What's next? We're at a crossroads. One path: the American tomato industry shrinks, family farms close, and we depend on imports. Prices rise, quality becomes standardized, and a proud industry fades. Or, this crisis sparks innovation. Investment in greenhouses, precision agriculture, and new technology. The U.S. could become a leader in high-tech, sustainable farming, creating new jobs and markets. The likely outcome? A mix. Some farms adapt and thrive, others disappear. We may see cheap imports for everyday use and a niche market for premium local tomatoes. Government action could help, but brings its own challenges. The future of American tomatoes depends on choices we make now. Will we invest and compete, or just buy from others? This isn't just about tomatoes, it's about the future of American farming. The story isn't over. The next chapter is up to us.